Few things to get out the way. And speaking about performance in this video, I will specifically be referring only to longevity and not projection or sillage. While it is a little trivial to me, at least these days, to calculate how long a fragrance lasts on your skin, which is also essentially calculating for how long your nose can detect your fragrance from your skin. It is at least quantifiable. We can use numbers to measure it. Projection and sillage, however, are not quantifiable. That is, how far a fragrance pushes out or how long it will linger in a room behind you. If we're going to place any importance on performance, then I believe that most of you watching this care more about lasting power than you do about how much other people around you will be able to smell you. Again, we can't track this. We can only generalize it.
Strong.
Weak.
Maybe somewhere in between.
In this video, we're going to feature fragrances of different varieties in terms of scent profile. The one thing that they have in common is that they are all technically eau de toilette concentration. Now, as many of us come to gain a fundamental understanding of how fragrance concentrations work, we might allow ourselves to presume, based on our own experience or on the opinions of others, that eau de toilette generally means light or even weak. If I've said it once, I've said it maybe 11 times. Concentration has much more to do with scent behavior than it does to do with performance. Simply put, concentration affects how the scent will evaporate from your skin or any surface after it is sprayed, and also how it will develop. Not necessarily how long it will last or how noticeable it will be. Those are actually byproducts. Not to mention, the definition of eau de toilette is a bit vague when you look at it. Technically, the EDT concentration ranges from 5% up to 15% fragrance oils. Believe it or not, that is a huge range and does not give us a lot of specificity on exactly what an EDT is. So this implies a lot of variability in how an eau de toilette will behave. Now, if all 7 fragrances I'm going to talk about are stronger performers, does that mean that they're all on the higher side of the concentration? Maybe, but I don't know. I actually couldn't find all that information, and I did go looking. But nonetheless, all you need to know is that, at least in my experience, these fragrances leave nothing to be desired as far as longevity goes, despite their weak concentrations. Let's dive right into it. In no particular order, first one up here is great for the summertime, which is kind of behind us now, but this is from Kenzo. It's called OM Marine. This is a simple scent profile composed by Quentin Biche, and you did a marvelous job. I never use that word. Marvelous? Is this a Disney movie? This is a lovely floral aquatic scent that is still masculine. There is this almost tropical banana fruity like note mixed with some salty aquatics, maybe some woods in there. It's kind of sweet and beachy and floral, but also fresh and salty, and it's pretty dang strong. It has a lot of aroma chemicals in it that I think just make it last and last and last on the skin. It's great for a hot summer day out. If you're going to be at the beach all day, this will be with you all day into the evening. It's a great one for that. So if you want a fresher fragrance that lasts all day long, then I would check out Kenzo OM Marine. One thing I did forget to mention in the intro, and this is very important, you will notice that all the fragrances I'm going to talk about are designer fragrances. And honestly, that was not intentional, but it was also kind of unavoidable because eau de toilettes typically come from the designer market. Niche brands are not necessarily producing a lot of eau de toilettes. Eau de parfum is kind of the standard. I'd say maybe even extrait is becoming a new standard in some ways. So especially for the male marketed mainstream arena, you're going to see a lot of EDTs. Even though you're seeing more eau de parfums and parfums come to light, EDTs are still everywhere, and they will still continue to be a part of the landscape. And another thing to get out the way, all these fragrances can be found at the links in the description, if I forgot to mention that, which I did. Up next is a fragrance that is technically discontinued, but it's still available here and there from what I've seen, but not necessarily cheap. This is 1 Million Lucky from Paco Rabanne. Some people might say this is one of the best in the collection. It's a toss up between this and the Privé. Privé is wonderful. This is still my favorite of the line. It is a beautiful gourmand leaning fragrance. It does have a freshness to it. Aldehydes make it fresh, almost clean smelling, like clean laundry, but it does have this richness of some hazelnut, honey, a good amount of plum in there. It has this ambery, woody dry down. It smells delicious, delectable. The freshness gives it a little bit of versatility, even though it is quite quite sweet and it's kind of sexy. This stuff is pretty seductive, I gotta say. And it performs well. I wouldn't call it a beast by any means, but in terms of lasting on the skin for the functions I might wear this, which is usually at night, but I could also wear it in the day, I'm gonna get anywhere from 7 to 10 hours of longevity, which is more than enough for me. Let me know if you dig this one. It's been a bit of a darling, and it's a shame it's not all that easy to find these days, but if you dig it, let us know. 1 million lucky. This one I've talked about several times now. It is a wonderful fragrance from the early 2000s. It does kind of smell like it, but it is still pretty timeless. I think it's very attractive. It's pretty versatile, and it's quite strong. This is from Jacques Bogart. It's called Bogart Porom. I don't remember all the notes in this, but I get this clean, sweet, creamy, fruity fragrance profile. I don't think there's explicitly fruits in here, but I do get some kind of fruitiness, but it could be the tonka bean. Lots of lavender, tonka beans, some other florals. It is clean, it is gentlemanly smelling, but there is this seductive sweetness that dances throughout the scent, makes it smell amazing in the air. Catch a whiff of this stuff in the air and your attention will be had, and it's going to function well if you need something to last all through the day. That is Bogart Porom. We've got a classic from Cartier from 1992, one that may not be for all of you guys. It does have a little bit of a vintage flair to it. This is Pasha, the Cartier Eau de Toilette. It is surprising to me how strong this fragrance is, and I've noticed that when I first wore it. It is a clean barbershop style scent. This fresh green and herbal, spicy lavender, woods and oak moss as it dries. Lots of woodiness and mossiness in this one, and I think that's what kind of makes it feel a little bit more sophisticated, maybe more older leaning, so to speak, but there's a reason why you can still buy this in a lot of places. It's a classic. The quality is phenomenal too. It just has this air of sophistication, this very French vibe, and for some reason this stuff is kind of nuclear for me. It just lasts and lasts and lasts, and it dries down into this very refined, confident, gentlemanly feel that is still kind of clean. It smells great. Let me know if you dig this one. That is Pasha de Cartier Eau de Toilette. From Dior, we have Dior Homme Sport 2021. Yes, this is an EDT, and it is one that performs quite well, and I did not expect that. It smells similar to the 2020, but it does have some pretty substantial differences, mainly being a little bit fresher at the top and somehow warmer and ambrier and almost more woody at the bottom. And for whatever reason on me, it outlasts the regular Homme 2020 by quite a bit. This stuff will get me through an entire day of sun up to sundown for the most part. It smells clean, it smells sexy, it's woody, it's modern, it's masculine. It doesn't change a ton on the skin, but it's not your typical basic mainstream fragrance. There is something special to this. There is a lot of thought behind this. So I've grown to really appreciate it more than when I got it. When I first got it, I thought it was a little redundant to the Homme 2020, but I think it does just fine on its own. Let me know if you dig this one. And if you're looking for a long-lasting, fresh, and kind of sexy, versatile scent, this is one to consider. Links down below. We've got an absolute timeless masterpiece. Came out 2006, still on shelves today. It's not going anywhere. Award-winning scent. This is Terre D'Hermes Eau de Toilette, and this is a fairly strong scent. Not super long-lasting, all day into the night kind of stuff. And I wouldn't want that because this is the kind of scent profile I do tend to save for the daytime. And by the time night comes around, I'm ready to shower and maybe put on something else. This just has a profile that suits more of a productive day, like you have business to take care of. This is dry, woody, bitter vetiver with some citrus, lots of orange in here. Has this musky woodiness that kind of runs throughout the scent, makes it feel fresh, makes it feel kind of sexy in the air, but it is a very authoritative vetiver based fragrance. You do have to like vetiver to like this, otherwise you might not like it. And if you want a fresh and masculine vetiver fragrance that lasts you mostly throughout the day, the EDT, believe it or not, can do it. You don't need the Parfum for that. The Parfum's great, and I actually prefer it to this, but I love this, and I think it suits the function just wonderfully, marvelously even. Terre D'Hermes Eau de Toilette. And our final fragrance here, this one might smell like your uncle. It just has this old school vibe to it for sure. It came out in 1989, and it does smell a little bit like the early 90s, late 80s. It has that vibe. It has that clean soapiness, but fragrances like this, for whatever reason, had a lot of complexity. While being easy to wear and understand, there's a lot going on under the hood when you take a look. This is from Alfred Sun. It's called Sun Homme. I actually haven't worn this in a long time, and I'm glad I remembered this for this video because I'm going to get some wear out of this before the cold season really comes. But this is a fragrance that kind of smells the way it looks. It is clean, it's soapy, soapy, it's out the shower fresh, it's herbal, woody, and citrusy. There's all kinds of stuff going on here, but it comes together as this very clean and soapy, fresh fragrance. Very soapy. It has this like ambery warmth to it that makes it stick around, and it just lasts on my skin for hours and hours and hours. If you want to smell clean all day long, but have a little bit of this Uncle Ted vintage flair, this kind of has that vibe. This is Alfred Sun Porom. All right, I want to know what you guys think of this. A little bit of an experiment. Let me know if you want to see more of something like this in a series, maybe dealing with eau de parfums, maybe even parfums, whatever it may be. You guys let me know and I will see what I can do. But in the meantime, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video so I know you enjoyed what you saw. Make sure you check out the links in the description if you have yet to try any of these fragrances and you have an interest in doing so. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.